Terence Crawford is holding up the welterweight division of boxing and ERROL Spence Jr. But why? Alright, y'all, let's break it down. You know, for at least, I would say about the last 4 to 5 years, people have been saying someone is holding up the welterweight division in boxing. Now, a few years ago, it was Manny Pacquiao. A few years ago, people were saying Manny Pacquiao needs to drop the WBA title. Manny Pacquiao is holding up the welterweight division. Manny Pacquiao is holding the WBA belt hostage. And this was all because after he won the WBA super title from Keith one-time Thurman, Manny Pacquiao went back to the Philippines. He really didn't have another fight after that. Now, I know people are going to say what they want to say. Manny Pacquiao should have done this. Manny Pacquiao should have done that. PBC should have jumped on that fight. Any fight that they could have put Pacquiao in at the time. It should have been Pacquiao ERROL Spence Jr. 4 months after Manny Pacquiao won that title. But I think ERROL Spence already had a fight lined up right after that. So it should have been 5 or 6 months after that they made the ERROL Spence Manny Pacquiao fight, and we could have gotten something out of that. But we didn't. Manny Pacquiao held the WBA title, super title, for maybe 2.5 years, I believe, because he didn't fight for almost 2 years. And then they stripped him. They stripped him of the title. They elevated Ugas, and that became a mess in itself. I think the WBA made a bad decision, and I think they realized that they made a bad decision. It was the wrong thing to do, especially in the times that we were in. We were deep into the crisis in the world, and they had no reason to strip Manny Pacquiao of the title for inactivity. It shouldn't have been up to Manny Pacquiao to go out and have to solicit a fight when he has a promotional company in PBC. And this is one of the reasons, not to go too deep or too off topic, but that's one of the reasons I feel like ERROL Spence ducked, because there was so much time that elapsed between Pacquiao winning the WBA title and Pacquiao being stripped. You gotta wonder why PBC never made the ERROL Spence Jr. fight. I know why. It's because there was too much doubt after that Keith Thurman fight whether ERROL Spence Jr. could survive for 12 rounds with Manny Pacquiao. And I think that hey, it is what it is. They wanted that belt out of Pacquiao's hands. They figured out a way to get it because of the amount of time that elapsed between Pacquiao fighting. They just got the sanctioning bodies to strip him. This is my theory. Ugas got elevated. He's a PBC fighter, so they were elated to have that belt back. Ultimately, ERROL Spence ended up with that belt. So if you think that I'm just talking conspiracy theories, it's not. To me, it's not. You know, to the rest of the world it is, but to me it's not. Too many puzzle pieces fit together, and it should obviously show you something was going on. Now, whether it was ERROL Spence outright ducking Manny Pacquiao, or whether it was PBC not wanting to risk their cash cow of the future in a fight where they just saw their cash cow in the making, Keith Thurman, get destroyed by Manny Pacquiao, it should make you wonder, but I think a lot of people have a hard time accepting that for what it is. But to finish the story out, okay, so they ended up getting the belt out of Manny Pacquiao's hands. Now, you can't say Pacquiao's holding up the division anymore. He's out of the way. Now, you only got 2 champions. ERROL Spence beat Ugas. Terence Crawford's never fought any level of competition, really, to lose his belt. So he's been the champion all this time. So you got 2 champions now. You got 2 champions. There should be no excuses why the ERROL Spence Terence Crawford fight hasn't happened, but we're still getting all the excuses in the world for why this fight isn't being made. Now you got to ask yourself, who's holding up this fight at this point? Like, who could possibly be holding up the fight at this point? Is it ERROL Spence? Is it Terence Crawford? There can only be 2 people holding up the fight. It can't be Manny Pacquiao. It can't be Ugas. It's definitely not Thurman. He's 3 years, 4 or 5 years gone from being a champion. So, you know, you can't blame anybody else except for the 2 title holders. So at the end of the day, why is Terence Crawford? Because to me, there is no upside for Errol Spence holding things up. There is no upside for PBC holding things up. Errol Spence doesn't want to be at 147 anymore. He wants to move up to super welterweight. And PBC has no reason to hold him back because he would only make more money for them at super welterweight. So I don't feel like it's Errol Spence Jr. holding things up. It's got to be Terence "Bud" Crawford holding things up. But why would Terence Crawford hold up the entire division, hold up a unification, hold up undisputed, because if he wins, he gets all the marbles. There's only one thing that can come to my mind. Why would a person basically keep themselves from being the greatest fighter in history? And the only answer to that could be doubt. Like, he doubts himself. He doubts that he can beat Errol Spence. He doubts that he's as talented as Errol Spence. He doubts that he's as strong as Errol Spence. And I think that's where the real problem comes in. He saw the damage Ugas took. Mikey Garcia didn't take that type of damage. Danny Garcia didn't take that type of damage. What did Errol Spence put together to be able to do that to Udanius Ugas? Well, you got to look at Ugas first. Well, did Ugas just stand in front of him and basically give him the title? That's one theory. Or did Errol Spence come with a new game plan and learn even better how to control himself as a fighter, how to throw harder, stronger punches without exuding a lot of energy, and how to control a boxing ring? Did he become a better fighter, and that is forcing Terence Crawford to rethink everything and try to hold on to his belt and his O? You gotta wonder. Me personally, I would say 100% sure Terence Crawford is holding up the division, is ducking, holding his belt hostage because it's all he has left. As soon as he loses, his career is pretty much over. If this would have happened 5 years ago, I think he would have had a chance to recover. But since he's 36 years old, he's only got maybe 4 good more years. Because most fighters are not Manny Pacquiao and George Foreman. They only last until about 40. He could be an anomaly. He might last longer than that. But he's not challenging himself. And that might be the reason he lasts longer, because he isn't challenging himself and he's not getting beat up in any of these fights. He's not taking a lot of damage in any of these fights, but he's also not challenging himself at the same time. So he could be sabotaging his own career. Let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You're more than likely to get a response on the tube. Holler at me over there. And we are MANNY.
It's your boy Keys, neighborhood employee. Niggas knew that I was coming with fire. Y'all ain't up to my pie and up under a car. Your head under a tie, it's the S and the I. Player, we supposed to win. I'm in the booth focusing with coke in hand. Dude hate it when you see the chief running in. Ass mouth hurting like his wisdom teeth coming in. Now that's a roundhouse kick. Come round your house, letting rounds out quick. From Newburgh to downtown, it's that Midwest to down south shit. Y'all ain't fucking weed. She chillin', tryna put the feel on the mouth. What's good? She nothing, tryna show his niggas how to round.